Yeah. How's everybody doing?
Awesome.
Great. You know, I had to put into practice what I'm going to talk about today back there. I want to ask you a couple of questions. Have you ever thought about how you create your life in every moment? Have you ever thought about that? Because it's true. And you can actually take that further and create it with the consciousness of creating your life like a work of art. Honoring your heart, honoring your feelings, honoring your expression of what's wanting to come from your heart, and being what wants to be expressed. There's a yearning deep inside of each of us. When I was a little girl, I loved expressing creatively. And I have many memories of lots of different things that I wanted to do to express. But one of my favorite memories is being on the front porch of the Billapondo's porch down the street, because she would bring out paints and we would draw and we would cut and paste. And it was a free-for-all. And I felt so much joy and I felt so happy doing that. And when I got into high school, I took every single art class that I could. And my art teacher felt like I had true talent. And she would tell me things like, you have style already. Not everybody does. It takes years for some people to develop style. But I had parents that had come up from poverty, and their goal for me was to really get a job that was secure and would pay well. So I still laugh about it. My sister and I just had a conversation about this, because she does bookkeeping and accounting. My parents wanted me to be an accountant. And I was like, you're kidding, right? I don't work with numbers. I paint and I draw and I create. But that's what they wanted from me. So like a good girl, I started a pattern in life of following through with what other people wanted from me. And it really painted a pattern in my life. So, years later, and I was doing different jobs because I actually quit school because I wasn't going to be an accountant and I didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to be an artist. But I quit school and I got different kinds of jobs and I always did well with them. But I decided to go into teaching, and I loved it because I could take my artistic expression into the classroom and work with the kids. And the kids I was working with were at-risk kids, and I was making a difference, and I felt like it was my calling. And that was great, as long as I was in the classroom. However, I had this goal when I first got hired in the school district that I was going to be a principal. And I followed that track on up, and I did absolutely everything I needed to do to get there. In my first year of being a principal, I realized that perhaps this wasn't the one for me. And I was unwilling to give it up because I felt like I had made it. But I hadn't, because I had some health issues. I've had a kidney transplant. I, in fact, had to leave the school system because of it. I've had some heart issues. What I found was things happened whenever I didn't follow what my heart was yearning for. And when I started picking up the paintbrush again and started painting again, I'm telling you, it's like meditation for me. It's like time just erases away. And what I started to discover with that is that, wow, I was getting messages through my artwork. I would paint, and then these insights would come up. And then I'd paint another layer, and more insights would come up. And the more I painted, the more my heart opened up. And the more I started aligning with what it was I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And when that happened, all these possibilities came forward for me, things I'd never really even considered. And I jumped in with each of them. And I don't regret any one of them. In fact, that's how I got here, because I jumped in. I was jumping into my life, and I was creating my life, like my artwork. So I kind of put it into perspective in a way of just keeping it into 4 kind of ideas or gateways, using my metaphor of painting a piece of art and how we live our lives. And I call them the 4 C's of creating your art, your life like a work of art. But here's what it is. If you imagine a blank canvas right in front of you, it is open. And honestly, when I go up to that canvas, there's an opening somewhere on that canvas. And I can feel it, and that's where I start. It's like your consciousness, the field of consciousness. And when you're open to allowing to feel what's there and willing to step through the gateway there, things begin to open up. It's like choosing the colors. They're like the choices of your life. When you have these beautiful colors, you're choosing your authenticity. When you're making choices that align with what your heart is trying to tell you, the messages that you're getting in the insights, then you're living in authenticity. And so that is colors. First one, canvas. Second, colors. The third one is communication. Because when I take my paintbrushes out, I let the paintbrushes guide me on the canvas. And sometimes they want to get wild, and sometimes they want to get sweepy. Just like how we communicate with people and how we connect to the hearts of other people. And it's magical because you start to listen, you start to trust the movement in your life. And the fourth one is clarity, because throughout that whole process, you find great clarity around what it is that you are supposed to do to be the change in the world. And when you start doing that, multiple possibilities open up. And when you listen to your heart, you'll know which step to take next. So I invite each and every one of you to find what your expression of creativity is that's going to allow you to tap into your heart and live from your heart, a heart-centered life, living and creating your life like a work of art. Because when you do that, you create your heart to continue to open up and unfold and continue to bring you the gifts and blessings and wisdom of life. Thank you.